Good morning, my beautiful friends. How are you today? Welcome, welcome. I am just getting everything set up, and I hope you are having a great start to your Saturday. I want to know who's here, so let me know when you're here. In the meantime, I am trying to see the video in the group as I am going live, just so I can, there we go, get the comments made. There we go, perfect. So let me know who's here. I am excited to get started today. Cancel, somehow my phone did something. Cancel, 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 I don't wanna be here. Let's go back. This is the only way I can see comments is if I circle back and set up my other phone for this. So good morning, how are you today? Last week we had a beautiful session to the point where I put myself in hypnosis during the middle of the session, well, near the end of the session. And how interesting is that, right? So we've been doing this practice for the last couple of weeks where we've been using this deck to help settle us into the day. I'm going to do the same thing today. Again, when you show up, say hello so I know who's here joining us live. Otherwise, you know the drill. Plus replay, or hit replay, let me know who's here. And even if you're catching the recording, put replay down. We're gonna ground ourselves before we get started. Feet flat on the ground, shoulders up, back, down. Do it again. Use your breath up, back, down, release it all. Perfect, stretch to the side. Let the popcorn happen. Go to the other side. Let the popcorn happen on that side. The popcorn is any kind of snap, crackle, pop that you're feeling on your back end. Okay, are you ready to settle in today? Today is all about living in the moment. Today is all about being in the here and now and letting our thoughts be with us. You know, it's so easy to rush to the finish line. It's so easy to want to, or to always be thinking about what's next, what's on deck, what's coming up, instead of hearing the raindrops, instead of smelling the fresh air, instead of completely being in the moment. So that's what we're going to wrap our head around today. And it's all about, you know, if you could live every day like a Saturday, what would that feel like? What would that be like? And what would that feel like to you as we go forward? Just take a minute, write that down, think about it, pause this if you need to. Take a deep breath here and think about what would it be like to feel? What would it feel like if every day was a Saturday? What would you do? Would you play? Would you go to a play? Would you watch a theater? We did that last weekend. It was fantastic. So what would it look like for you to, good morning, Marianne, to treat every day like a Saturday? What would that feel like? Today, one of your homework pieces as we're going through this is, and if you can't think of it, you can always circle back and put it in the Essentially You group, is what would a typical Saturday feel like if you could wave a magic wand? If you could have every day feel like a Saturday, what would that feel like to you? What would it feel like for every day to be a Saturday? And think about that. Think about that. Think about the magic of sleeping in. Think about the lingering taste of coffee in your mouth, of companionship if you're with a partner, of taking the dog for the most leisurely walk that you can. What would it take feel like a Saturday. So before we go too far, I'm going to pull the deck. This is the deck I've been using for today's, for the Saturdays Essentially You group. As we step into today, as we go forward with the rest of the session, I would like you to do what you can to be completely in the moment. I know many of us compound our activities, and I'm one of them. I am very much one of them, and there is nothing wrong with that. But I also know that when I am compounding an activity, it takes me much longer to get through activities. So yesterday, I cleaned the house. And by cleaning the house, I was binge listening to podcasts. And normally I make notes. I did stop and make a few notes, but sometimes it takes me twice as long to clean the house because I am stopping to make notes. But one of the things I realized is, yesterday I just listened and I was just absorbing the information as I was focusing on cleaning the house. Cleaning the house is full of gratitude for me. Everything I touch, I am grateful for, and I set the intention that way. So we're going to take that feeling moving forward today as we settle into today's deck. Let's see what the message is for us, for living in the moment, for being right here, right now, and enjoying this step of the journey. Because when we fast forward, when we think of the what ifs, that doesn't serve us. The universe already knows what we want. We've already set the intention. Some of us are looking for a healthier body. Some of us are looking for change. We're looking to get unstuck. We're looking for more energy. We're looking for more finances. We're looking for something else to make us feel so much better. But the reality is that starts with being in the moment and not rushing to the end result. So let's see which card comes up. Again, the self-care deck. One more shuffle. All right, we're gonna pull this one. I normally pull one if something doesn't drop. So let's see what this one says. Remember, the universe already knows our intentions. We've set our intentions, right? We need to relax and release them and walk away from them. So this card right here is very fitting for today. Low self-esteem is like driving through life with your handbrake on, always holding you back. Compose a letter to your future self. What do you think you'll be in 10 years from now? I love this. I'm going to put this card up as homework number 2. Okay, Marianne. Thank you for letting me know. You can always catch the replay. So homework piece number 2 is to answer this question 10 years from now. So compose a letter to your future self. Who do you think you'll be 10 years from now? And you can put that in perspective of wishes, dreams, desires, but let's break it down to see what the rest of the card says. This is card number 32. All right. Low self-esteem. When you imagine your future self, are they on the same track that you are now? What kind of mental patterns does your future self have? Are they thinking about the things that occupy your mind now? Or have they moved on to the other side of the mountain? How is your future emotional state? As you write a letter to your future self, take care to explain where you're at now. Speak to your future self as if you have already learned the challenges you face now. Ask for guidance. So the external self-care piece on this is relationship, community, creative, and work. One way of gauging how aligned we are with ourselves is a level at which our inner world is reflected in our outer world and vice versa. Our outer world is a representation of where we are in our inner world. And you can flip that as well. Our inner world is a representation of our outer world. If we're feeling sad on the inside, we feel the sadness from the outside and the heaviness that's pulling us down. And that's the same thing if we're happy. If we're happy and joyful, we feel that in every part of our body. And that's what living in the moment is all about. Feeling those feelings and being able to understand and express them in a way where that gratitude is welcome into your life. That gratitude on multiple levels. Okay. Pause for a minute to look around and take stock of this. Do the outer trappings of your life, relationships, community, roles, like your involvement in your roles in the community, your creative expressions, your work, your career, reflect on the inner world you live inside every day. So your mindset. Which areas seem to line up and which ones are disconnected? Noticing these points will allow you to make some more conscious choices in the present. And that's what it's all about. Making different choices in the present. Because the present moment is the only time that you have control as to what's really going on in your life. So the present moment, whatever you decide now, will impact your future. And this is what living in the moment is all about. And most times we're living with the mindset that we are looking at the final destination. We're looking at the win, crossing the finish line, being on the other end. Whereas the joy is in the journey, and that journey is enjoying the moment of every single day. Going back to living your life as if it was a Saturday and you had all of the free time you could ever imagine. So notice the points that will allow you to make more conscious choices. Ooh, excuse me, give me 1 second here. Notice the point in your life. And again, sorry about that. Let's get this set up right. Okay. So sorry about that, my friends. Okay, so notice the point in your life. So notice the point where you're at right now when it comes to what decisions, what actions you can take today that are going to help impact your choices for the future, your decisions for the future. What is going to align with your inner world and what is going to align with your outer world? Doing so is going to bring you greater purpose and a greater sense of embodiment. Because, without purpose, we're a little bit stuck. Without purpose, we really don't know what to do with ourselves. So when we put ourselves in alignment with what it is that we want and what it is that we're working towards, it's a matter of our thoughts and thinking differently and putting ourselves in a position, not only where we're open and we're trusting, but we completely live in the moment and we disconnect from the worries of the future because we know that's not serving us. So I'm going to snap a photo for this and put this in the group. Compose a letter to your future self. Think about these things. Let me know how that worked for you and take the time to do your homework piece. And here's why. This is a commitment to yourself. You can absorb the information, you can take it in, but when you do the work, you are taking the resources, and resources, time, money, energy, you are taking the resources of today and committing to unfolding and developing and creating your future self. So by living in the moment today and trusting that everything is going to work out the way it's meant to, and living today just like a Saturday without your alarm clock, it changes everything. It changes everything. So on that note, let me go over some steps I've created for you. 10 ways to live in the present. because living in the moment allows us to have so much more joy. The meaning of life unfolds when we're able to smell the flowers, when we're able to take a look at the roses, when we're able to say yes and go for a spontaneous coffee date, when we're literally able to live our life in the moment the way we are meant to. Everything changes. Everything changes for the good. So living in the present allows us to notice the little things in life, from the animals crossing our paths when we're on our walk to the things that bring you joy. It prevents you from feeling lost or from feeling stuck in the wrong period of time. Remember, what you feel now is, again, curating your future self. This is a gift in a way that you can thank your future self by completely living in the moment. So what does it mean to live in the moment? Let me just fix this. Okay. It means being attentive. It means you are experiencing the world around you. Touch, sound, taste, sight, feelings, energy, your energy. People who live in the moment aren't distracted by thoughts, televisions, or phones. We are completely in the here and now. So for example, if you were walking in nature and you might notice some leaves falling or the crunch under your feet, spiders, even animals passing you by, the coolness of the breeze, the way the rocks might look on the ground, or the difficulty of the burning sensation of your legs as you're climbing uphill. But it's all about the lived experience that we're having. It's all about being able to feel those things. Because living in the moment, it's so good. It is so good. Some people think that living in the moment is spontaneity and living life to its fullest. You know, that's only one perception, and there are so many different perceptions out there. Living in the moment is about experiencing the world around you as it's happening in the moment. There is no stress. See, in the law of attraction, not only do we first experience, we think the thought, and then we start to experience the contrast of what it is that we want. Life will start to show up with what we don't want. It's going to give us the contrast. And then it's up to us to trust that the contrast is leading us to exactly what it is that we're looking for. And the same contrast I experienced personally on the dating scene. I remember I had this qualifiable list, quote unquote. I didn't have anything written down, but in my head. And as I was going on dates, I was thinking, not this person because of this, not this person because of this. I don't feel the energy. I don't feel the attraction. Whatever the reason was, I was able to tap into my moment, my soul, and qualify why it was or wasn't a fit. And that, I am really having problems with my recording today. That's okay. Life happens, right? This is keeping it real. This is not anything else but me keeping it real and staying patient and learning that this is all part of the experience. So living in the moment is good. It brings us inner peace. When we're free from judgment, from thoughts, when we're able to literally be, because stress comes from thinking. When you live in the moment, there's no stress. There's a sense of calm living. There's the essence of making life beautiful, exciting, and free. And how amazing is it that my throat chakra kind of tied up when I said that? So the benefit of living in the moment is that there's no stress, because stress comes from thinking, and you're not thinking when you're living in the moment. You're just enjoying and appreciating. You're being grateful. And that's why it's said that gratitude is the key to everything, because you can't be in gratitude and worry. and worry. So there is a sense of calm by living in the moment, right? A major sense of calm. So why is it that we worry about the future? We worry about the future because it's survival. We've been programmed to fear danger, threats, and things that prevent us from living long enough to procreate. Okay? It's normal to worry about the future. It doesn't mean that it doesn't harm us, though. Our thoughts are everything. Anxiety triggers our fight and flight responses, and everything in between, from fawn, freeze to flow. And I will put that chart up on here. I'm just making a note. Fawn, freeze, flow. And I want you to identify where you're at, and then I will specifically do some work on that. This is your nervous system talking to you, and you can hear it more when you're present and in the moment. It's not easy. Okay, being present isn't easy because you notice the good, the bad, the ugly, the contrast is apparent. But when you have thrown your intentions out into the universe, when you believe everything that's out there, that's the only thing that you can do, is throw it out there and believe and leave it. It's kind of like planting in the garden. You get the right dirt going, you get the right seeds in there, and you add the water, and you check it. You add the water over and over again, and you maybe talk to it and let it know how it's growing and what it's doing. But you never, ever, ever undig it and look to see if the seed's still there. Ever. So you trust in it. You let it be. You know it's going to come out beautiful. And that's the same thing in your life right now. I am positive if you look back on your life, you will realize you are exactly where you are meant to be, and that you have climbed so many beautiful mountains in the past. See, the world today doesn't have the same dangers as our ancestors did, not by a long shot. We are no longer hunting or gathering for our food. Many of us don't need to run away from wild animals. Sometimes we do, but sometimes we don't. And it depends what those wild animals are disguised as, right? And that's the thing right there. I'm gonna have to fix this. But this time you're just gonna have to roll with me, because I can't tend to fix it overnight. So at least one set of animal is running towards us, and that's the animal in our mind. Whether it's deer, a fawn, a skunk. I've dissected all of these, but our minds are sitting at one of the three different places. And again, we can label them whatever we want, but essentially, is it our subconscious? Is it our conscious? And living in the moment is our conscious mind. It's our subconscious that doesn't want to live in the moment. So it's important to live in the present so that we are not anxious about things that would lead to our demise. Why do we get stuck in the past? That's a great question to go over, and it's super important to realize that it's the words we're replaying, the images we're thinking about, the emotions that bring us back. Plus, it's something we know versus something we don't know. Living in the past, though, prevents us from living in the present. We get stuck in the past because we're trying to solve an unsolvable problem. So we repeat. Again, we're repeating because it's familiar, but we repeat negative thoughts to help us find new patterns. As a result, we get stuck in the same cycles repetitively over and over and over again. And that's what happens when we get stuck in the past. It's crucial to speak with a therapist, a counselor, a life coach to break out of the cycle of thinking those negative thoughts over and over again. The what ifs, the whys, even the scenario that you're in right now, anything that's happened beyond today, beyond right now, is in the past. So stop thinking about it, because it's not going to help you move forward from the trauma, the insecurities, or past the pain. We need to let that go. We need to trust that everything is working out for us, and that part of our path hasn't been unfolded yet. We're just not ready for it yet. and that's okay. It's very possible to live in the moment. You know, you can do this by allowing your conscious mind to control your thoughts. You know, you can meditate regularly every single day. And you learn that in meditation about letting your thoughts pass by, because you're still going to be interrupted by thoughts when you meditate. But you're teaching yourself over and over again what that looks like and what that feels like, and how you can choose to let your thoughts go past you instead of dwelling on them. And that's what it means to get in a state of flow. It helps you experience something to the point of losing track of time. You know, a painting, crocheting, knitting, exercise class. Those are all in the moment. Those can all be in the state of flow where you completely lose track of time. Doing things you enjoy, meditating, going for a walk in nature. These are all fun ways to live in the moment naturally. And this is what we do on a Saturday, right? We're completely in the moment on a Saturday. So living every day on a Saturday, how cool is that? Would that be? So let's go over 10 steps with how to live in the moment. I will break these down for you. I'm just gonna make a note. 10 steps. Okay. So practice meditation. That's the first one. It's so much easier to live in the moment when you practice a guided 10-minute meditation. It's going to help remind you that you are not your thoughts. You are completely separate from your thoughts. Your negative thoughts merely come to you, and they are beyond your control. That is your subconscious mind speaking. And you learn through meditation that you don't have to identify with them. And that's a huge help to living in the moment. Calm is the app that I use. I've been using it for years. If you want a link to it, let me know. I'll give you a 30-day gifted subscription. And I love it, but there's a whole bunch of other ones on YouTube that you can follow. But I do a 10-minute guided meditation every single day and a reflection right after. And I love it. I love it. The next step is to improve your health. Many people don't like hearing this, especially if you're sedentary, especially if you are in a point where living in the moment is hard, where you're trying to live in the moment, you're trying to release your negative thoughts because you don't want to believe them. But reminding yourself to exercise can be draining. But it's the one thing, well, it's actually one of the things to improve your physical health. It can be a huge role in the difference that every single day makes. So if you find yourself stuck in the past or the future, or you're not living in the moment at all because you're in the wrong time frame, exercise helps reduce the fight and flight response from triggering too often. It makes you feel safe because each time you are in fight or flight, your back goes up. But now you can release that energy through exercise, and you will go back to a natural state of homeostasis, what the new normal looks like to you. Exercise also helps to prevent and delay brain issues like dementia. So overall, if you're looking to keep your mind sharp and healthy, you can just enjoy the moment. Consider going for a daily walk, either outdoors or on the treadmill. I try to go outside as much as I can. Rainy days are hard for me. They're a trigger in my head, but I try to find something else to do to move my body, and then I have to just rest it. But as much as I can go outside, I'll go outside. Calming the mind. That's the third point. The easiest way to calm the mind is to do right-brained activities. So that includes things like practicing mindfulness, so meditation, walking, painting, drawing, making crafts, woodworking, dancing, creating like the origami pieces, and so much more, even baking. Because when you do the right-brained activities, the left brain silences itself for a bit. It has to, right? Um, this will eliminate any rabbit hole of thinking when it comes to negative thoughts. So simply, it's a way to quiet down your mind when you do right brain activities. And when you calm the mind, you release your negative thoughts, which puts you back into the state of being present and being in that state of flow. When when you're in that state of flow, toxic thinking usually doesn't come about because you are so busy being calm, whatever that looks like. All right, point number 4 is to be kind. One of the easiest ways to live in the moment. Think about this. You're going through an organic Saturday with no plans, maybe the coffee shop, maybe you're picking up some essentials for gardening, so you're in and out of garden shops or home decor shops, and you've got your warm coffee in your hand and you have time on your side, and you literally get to say hello to everybody. And this is the same like-minded people that make you feel good because they're saying hi back. So one of the easiest ways to live in the moment is to be kind. When we are being kind, our right brain again is being activated as being compassionate. When we go out of our way to do acts of kindness, it's a healthy way of living your life to the fullest while having peace of mind. You can't stress and worry when your heart is full of gratitude. I just said that earlier. You cannot stress and worry when your heart is full of love. You can only live presently when you're being kind, and that's the whole intention of living in the moment. Also, people who fear the future typically don't fear anything when they're doing good deeds. Think about that. If you're doing a good deed, you cannot fear the future. Wow. That's point number 4. How simple can that be when we break that down? While bad things could still happen to good people, it's a lot harder for things to go wrong when you're constantly helping others and doing acts of generosity. Whatever that looks like to you, okay? You don't need to do the acts of generosity that I do. Perhaps you want to volunteer at a hospital. Perhaps you want to find an online community where you can give your 2 cents with, where you can just shine and grow, where you can help people become a better version of themselves. Or maybe you want to join some allegiance. Maybe you want to help a community. All of these things are acts of kindness. Opening up the door for people are acts of kindness. Volunteering at your church is an act of kindness. Running a soup kitchen is an act of kindness, but you cannot be in the present with those people, helping and serving that many people at a time. For those that are listening to this is an act of kindness, unless you're in my paid group. Then that's a service that you've paid for, right? But you can have so much fun planning kindness, especially if you convince others to join you. For example, reading a response to an epic birthday message can give you goosebumps. Reading the right card or seeing a reaction to a gesture you did can make you feel so good. And what can those gestures be? Anything. It can be buying somebody a coffee. It can be so many different things, okay? So when we're kind to people, that helps us live in the moment. Let's recap the 4 that we're at right now. There's 10, remember? So practicing meditation, how to live in the moment, practicing meditation, improve your physical health, move your body somehow, walking or getting outside or walking on a treadmill every day. Calming the mind. So by doing right mind practices, painting. I lost track of mine. I wasn't going to break these down, but now that I started. So painting, puzzles, dancing, woodworking, anything like that puts you out of left brain thinking. Okay. The 4th state is being kind, being in a state of gratitude and giving. is going to make a difference. The fifth state that we have here is to breathe. Because you see, when we have a a panic attack, or we're hyperventilating, we often fear the future. We're worried about what's coming up next. To live in the present, or to be completely in the moment, we can control our breathing to ease our minds back to the present moment, to let ourselves know that we are safe. When we take time to breathe, it helps us calm the rest of our bodies. When we calm the rest of our bodies and we're breathing, it helps us reduce our rapidly beating heart and our blood pressure. So when our heart is beating rapidly due to anxiety, we can breathe to change that. There's so many different breathing techniques. There's the 4x4. There's the in for 5, out for 8, where you're controlling your breath. Then there's the alternate nostril breathing. There are so many different breathing techniques that help. But we often have our minds wandering in so many different directions, making it so hard to live in the moment. So the next time you're breathing, to help you live in the moment, consider doing some kind of breathing meditation, some different type of alternate breathing, which helps reduce the movement between your thoughts, to help you focus on the gap between those unhelpful thoughts so you can bring yourself back into alignment. Step number 6, seek therapy. Find somebody to speak with, because they're going to teach you how to control your emotions. They're going to guide you how to best get out of your head. And they're going to let you know that you're not alone and that this is a safe space. So you can talk through the experiences, because it doesn't matter where you're at right now. If you're in a place that you're not in the present, so you're worried about the future, or you're panicking about the past, we want to bring yourself back into the future, back into the present. I mean, not the future, but the present moment. You know, how are we going to best get you out of your head? Because you cannot think your way out of a situation that brought you here in the first place. How are you going to think differently? And a qualified therapist, a qualified coach, having somebody that has walked in your shoes, or that completely gets you, or who your soul and vibe trusts. And I can't express this enough. You have to lean in and trust your person. Find the person until you trust the person. Follow the person until you trust the person. Ask yourself, do I trust the person? Because you want somebody that's going to bring out the best of you as they are working through releasing cognitive behavior techniques that are not serving you, that are teaching you practices like tapping, EFT, how to think differently, what it's like to have negative thoughts pass by instead of sinking in. Therapy gives you a confidant that not only will listen to your every thought, worry, and whim, but will help you focus on the ones that matter and create safe space for the ones that don't matter. So if you do not yet have a therapist or a coach, we should definitely connect and talk about that. You definitely need to seek therapy when you are going through change, any kind of change. So important. It's so important to help you live in the moment when you are doing these things. All right, let's continue on. Point number 7. Do things you're passionate about. When you're daydreaming about living in the moment, consider things that you do to put you in a state of flow. A state of flow is when you do something so intently that you lose track of time. Is that chatting to a friend? Is that going for a walk? Is that lingering in bed in the mornings because you work from home and you have your own schedule? What does that look like to you? If you were given a magic wand, what does that look like to you? Maybe you feel that way when you're running outdoors, or when you're fixing cars, or finding your way out of a problem, like a puzzle, or a painting. I keep on pointing to my right. That's my creative spaces. Or anything that you do that just seriously makes you feel happy. For me, sometimes it's time with my grandson. It's the little pleasures in life, right? Life without your greatest pleasures is not worthwhile. So are you putting these greatest pleasures into your day? And how are you putting them in your day? Don't let other people discourage you from doing the things that excite you. What gets you out of bed in the morning? So I know that, some days are harder than others. I'm just getting a live comment here. I haven't been able to lose myself in anything in many years. Thank you for sharing that. You're not alone. And today's episode is all about being present. And my question to you is, do you find that your thoughts are stuck mainly in the past or stuck mainly in the future? Let me know. I'll continue as I wait to hear back from you. So the cool thing here is when you're doing things that make you feel in the moment. If you're playing music and dancing along and swaying your body, if you're pulling out clothes in your closet to wear and you feel magical putting them on, or you kind of feel invincible when you're wearing them, do you ever step into that feeling? I step into that feeling most of the day, and then my husband comes home and I'm like, bleh, time to put pajamas on. That doesn't serve me, putting pajamas on. That doesn't help me live in the moment. Because when I'm living in the moment, I am curating the life for my future self. I am planting those seeds for my future self. So when I'm wearing something, and let's go there, when I'm wearing something fun and creative, a little different, a little passionate, a little energetic, it helps me be in alignment with how my future self would dress. Or sometimes I'll look in the closet and I'll want to try on clothes and I'll be like, nothing works, nothing fits. And that's because I am no longer the person I was then. That's what growth looks like to me. And when I am dreaming about living in the moment and doing things that help me be in a state of flow, that, my friends, is doing things you're passionate about. You don't feel anything mostly. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that for just a second. You don't feel anything. Oh, thank you. You don't feel anything right now because you've been hit so hard and your protective barriers, it's safer for them to be on. So I am going to be putting, are you in my Essentially You group? I don't know. I'm going to send you a message after this, or send me a message and I will connect with you. There's a couple of files I want you to take a look at so you can see where you're at on the nervous system. Flow, freeze, fawn. And I forget the other one. There's 4. And these identify where you're at with your nervous system. And I know you're one of them right now off the top of my head. I can't think of which one just based on these few comments. But I would like you to take a look at that. So that's available in my Essentially You group. That is also something that we can chat about, because I want to help you get past that next step, even if it's becoming more aware as to where you are and why you are where you're at, and understanding that when you let those thoughts go like a cloud passing and you spend more time in the moment, it's going to help you flip that script. So another thing that's going to help you, oh, by the way, my email is Sonya, SONYA, JANISSE @gmail.com. Send me a quick message about this and I'll make sure you get the information that you need. And we can go from there. And also take a look at the link in my bio. There are so many different things that you can tap into that will help answer those questions, or at least help you connect with me so we can take it to that next level. All right, a couple more things that are going to help you live in the moment, and then I will do a recap. So go for a nature walk. Nature helps us live in the moment. We can often get lost in thoughts during a long, doesn't have to be that long, mindfulness walk, or have an inspiring idea strike, when we come out in nature, it's kind of like having a shower, and the best ideas come to us when we're having a shower. It doesn't mean you don't come to life without nature. Walking in nature can reduce stress, improve your mood, decrease brain function, and allow for better concentration. If we can concentrate better in nature, we may also be more mindful and attentive to our surroundings. How often, when you're going through a walk in nature, do you notice the crunch under your feet, or the smell of the leaves, or the sounds around you? Even if you have music in, you still have to pay attention. So we are equipped, we are focused, we have no choice but to be present, 100% present when we are going for a nature walk. And that helps us block out anything else that's not in the future. Yes, you're very welcome. About being safe in your space, you're not. And yes, I'm here to support you on that. There are so many levels. So yes, definitely the best advice I can give you, A, email me. B, go through the link in my bio, do one of the assessments, do the one that speaks to you the most. If they speak to you all, do them all, and then book a follow-up time with me. And then that'll ensure that we have a date to go over everything. Your first call is completely complimentary for anybody listening to this. And I'll help you take the next steps towards living your best life. Okay, the next one. Let's finish this up here, guys. Keep in mind, though, when you're going for a nature walk, try to go 2 or 3 times a week, especially if you're in the process of healing. Music can be distracting when you're trying to live presently, as it creates tunnel vision. Think about that. If you ever have music on, it helps you focus on just the music, which is why it's easier to clean the house, which is why it's easier to get harder jobs done, which it's easier to separate yourself from the activity and the feelings that come with the activity. So hear me out on this. Perhaps cleaning out your wardrobe isn't easy, and you don't like it because of the emotional attachment that you have with the clothing. But that's a memory, and we can capture those memories. We don't need to physically hold on to them. If it doesn't serve us, it doesn't serve us. So if we're listening to music while we're doing something like cleaning out our closet, we can go by our instinct because we're lost in the music. We're a lot less connected. So that's where it's a good example, if the project is too big, to bring music in. If it's too overwhelming, if it's too daunting, if it's much for you, that's going to help you with the tunnel vision. Think of going for a run. Music is helpful. But if you need to listen to your pace, I don't like listening to my heartbeat when I'm going for a run at all. But I do like running. So I need to work up to it again. I need to pace myself and work up to it again. But the point is, music helps me with that because it helps me with the tunnel vision. But when you're going through a nature walk and you're going 2 or 3 times a week, you want to be able to experience all of the beauty, all of the sounds around you. Whether you go for a forest walk, a trail walk, a quick hike around the mountains. I go for a walk here that about 20 minutes in, I get a piece of nature for about 15 minutes. And then I'm back into the concrete jungle of the world, if you want. But that piece of nature for 15, 20 minutes includes running water, and I can hear it and I can see it. Includes a lot of birds. Includes a pond where there's ducks. So there's a lot of action and activity in that pocket. I love walking to that pocket. You know, I can go for a drive and take a longer nature walk, but getting to that pocket itself is like enjoying the journey and being in the moment along the way. The next step is eat mindfully. When was the last time you carefully noticed the taste of your food? Many people eat so quickly that they miss out on the flavors swirling around your mouth. So think about this. I know when I am triggered. I know when I am focused about the future or worried about the past or flipped around and I'm just not in the moment. And one of the ways I know I'm just not living in the moment is I inhale my food and I eat often. I know this. That creates more inflammation in my body. That does not help my head heal. I know this. But here's the thing, guys, showing up as your coach, I am real with this. I am honest with this. I'm human too. So a lot of these practices I have to apply in my own life. I will be applying these to my life. I will be creating, you're going to want to follow along for this. I wasn't planning on showing anything here, but let's see if it's in this book. You guys know I did this, right? I created a quarterly planner. It's so awesome. I use them religiously. Okay, so I have a habit tracker here. And for those that want one, email me, Sonia Janice, so first name, last name, at gmail.com, habit tracker in the subject line, and I will give you all a free one, a digital copy or a printable copy. And here's where I am going at with this. Today we talked about 10 different activities. Oh, I didn't get to the 10th one yet. I'll get there. The 10th one, let me just pause for a second on this. So we were talking about I'm going to recap them. Number 8 is eating mindfully. And I went off on a tirade about being an emotional eater, and that happens, and then it creates more inflammation in my life, and that doesn't serve me with where I'm going. So when you allow yourself the opportunity to experience food differently, to see food as fuel, you allow yourself to eat mindfully. It's a simple way to live in the moment without needing to change anything drastic in your life, other than eating slower. And when you start eating slower, not only do you start practicing mindful eating meditation, the taste, the texture, the flavor, the crunch, the sensations, the seasonings, all of that, not only do you absorb those things, but you're full sooner, right? It only takes 20 minutes to fill up. So if you're filling up on the hearty stuff and you're being aware how delicious the broccoli tastes like, because it makes you feel good on so many levels after, or how grateful you are for making this choice and decision. This is not easy. None of these tips are easy for living in the moment. These all take practice. So the 10th one is adding music to your life. I've been doing this lately. So when I do my social posts every single day, I go on some platforms, and some of them are really depressing. Like I'll come back to this. They're very, very, very depressing. I don't even know what to say at all for some platforms. So it's kind of like, now what, right? I've done my social posts, now what? But here's where you can add music to your life. Music is going to help you flip the script. Playing music while cleaning the kitchen can help you elevate your mood and help you enjoy the basic life chores that drain you. But dancing and rapping to your favorite songs, or two-stepping, or whatever that looks like, can be a fun experience. And when you are having fun, you are stepping into joy. And when you are stepping into joy, you are attracting everything that you want. And it feels like you are on fire. You can play at a concert while walking on the treadmill to make it feel like you're experiencing a live performance while you sing and walk at a fast pace. Sometimes all you need is a tune to whistle to, or to distract you, to get you excited again about the present moment. Singing brings you presence. And I want to say, this is one of the reasons why I've added church to my life recently. Through my healing process, I've added church to my life, and it's because I get to sing every Sunday. All right, hear me out. I want to show you this. This is the habit tracker. I'm going to remind you of all 10 events. I want you to put them on here, and whether it's in this book, whether it's the one I send you, whether it's a digital copy, write these 10 things down and mark when you've done them. Mark when you've done the activities and see how well you're doing for living in the moment. And when we come back here this time next week, you'll have a greater idea, or even on Check-in Fridays, what your life looks like. So I have not been using the one in my book lately. However, I'm going to print one off and put one upstairs in my bedroom or down here. I'm not sure. I might even laminate it where I can use a dry erase every day. That might work for me. From my book, my quarterly planner, Design Your Life Your Way. The links are in my bio for this one. All right, guys, I'm going to summarize these 10. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, because I will be summarizing today's Essentially You group and coaching program live April 27th, 2024. Sonia Janice is your coach here, and I am always here to support you. So if you have the Essentially You group and coaching with the coaching component, don't forget to book your coaching sessions for April. It's a great opportunity to keep yourself accountable. It's a great opportunity to learn more about your growth, because that's what you need to see when you're trying to live in the moment. All right, the 10 habits we talked about for living in the moment today. And again, I will be posting these in my group. I will be posting the photo of the 4 pictures. It's a circle for your nervous system. Fawn, freeze, flow, and fight. Flight. Flight is one of them, and then fight. Yep. So there's a couple there. Fawn, freeze, flow, flight, fright. Fight. Can't read my handwriting. Fight. And I know that one. So let's talk about what it would take to make every day feel like a Saturday. Let's go over those top 10 tips about how we can stay present and living in the moment. What does it mean to live in the moment? Talked about why it's important to live in the moment. We drew the card earlier at the beginning. This card right here. Put it in a position where you can see it properly. There you go. For those that are listening and can't read it, I will read it in a second. So I draw a card each week out of this self-care deck that's designated just for this group. And it's about today's session. Low self-esteem is like driving through life with your hand brake on. Let me say it again. Low self-esteem is like driving through life with your hand brake on. Compose a letter to your future self. Who do you think you'll be 10 years from now? And the best way to do this is to revisit the last 5 years and see what the growth looked like then, or the last 10 years. And then we have this piece right here, which is the write up to this card that I will be posting in this group. Oh, thank you so much for saying that this is very calming and that I have a soothing voice. I appreciate that. Thank you. So we talked about why we worried about the future, why we get stuck in the past, how it's possible to live in the moment. And I am going to just refresh these quick 10 steps for you all. Practice meditation. Improve your physical health. Calm the mind. Be kind. Breathe. Seek therapy. Do things you're passionate about. Go for a nature walk. Eat mindfully. Add music to your life. Guys, this is what I have for you today. You know, living in the moment can be what makes your life worth living. It's got to be what makes your life worth living. That's, you know, you want to step into the day every day about what you want your Saturday to feel like. But let's create it first. But it's got to come from a place that you want, that you believe, or it won't work. So there's a couple ways of doing this. You can literally flip through magazines and rip pages out without even thinking about it. It's my favorite way. That's the way I help people create vision boards, especially after a session where they feel moved. Just grab a bunch of magazines and later in the day sit there with the TV on and pull out things that you're gravitated to. And then I can show you how to put them in a book instead of doing a vision board on the wall, which I have one in here and one here, one in the bedroom, one on my phone or on my laptop here as my screensaver. 3 different vision boards that I look at daily. I think there's one more that's posted, but I'm not sure, but I have a ton of them. But I'm learning to do a vision board book where I am ripping out those pages and creating a page per day. And it's interesting to see, not page per day, but a page per theme almost. And it's interesting to see what's coming out. So you can do that. That's going to help you live in the moment. That's going to help you think about the future version of you. You're pulling out these pictures that you're not even thinking about. When you find yourself sad or anxious, consider moving towards the present moment. Do one of those 10 activities. You are not your thoughts. Remember, working with the coach is going to help you with that. Don't get carried away or lost with your thoughts. Life is meant to be lived outside of your head, outside of the 4 walls. So don't spend too much time in your mind, which means spending more time outside. You don't belong in your mind. So practice meditation, get into a flow state, even if your flow starts with 1 hour a day. My favorite part of flow for my day is my morning routine. I love that period of time I've given myself to flow into my morning routine. And I'm trying to look at the rest of my day with that same sense of flow in different ways, but I'm not there yet in curating that. But I'm stepping into what my future version of me wants for that period of time so I can enjoy it and step into the flow, because the current version of me isn't enjoying it the way I want to. So I need to change something. And that means stepping into what my future version of me wants. That means what I'm doing right now isn't serving me. It's not matching. I'm not in alignment with myself. That means I'm spending too much time in my head. And I don't belong in my head. So that means practicing more meditation, getting into a state of flow, and doing. So doing things that make me happy, because that's what living in the present is all about. That means probably more songs, more dancing, more music. And I've been doing that. I've been doing a lot of that in different ways. I started going to church. I go to church so I can sing and dance. So important for me. Guys, thank you so much for your time today. This was a great session about in the moment. If you're curious about some of my other conversations, dialogues, monologues, things like that, check out my YouTube channel, check out my podcast channel. All of those links are in my link tree, and lean into whatever you are curious about in there. Have yourself a great day, my friends, and I look forward to hearing from you.